Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, first off, Happy New Year. Second off, we are back. We had a brief hiatus, but the infamous Sports Wars podcast is back in full effect. I'm your host, the Mayor of Oakland, a.k.a. the Mayor of soon-to-be of Las Vegas, a.k.a. the Mayor of, I don't know, maybe fucking San Antonio, depending on where we are for this temporary year next year. It's up in the air at the moment. I'm being joined by the usual suspects, the usual hooligans and assholes. Of course, we have the Morgan brothers, Roy and John, and we have this guy who seems to be enamored with this team up north that's not the Fudge Packers or the Vi Queens or the I can't think of an insulting name for the Lions, but yeah, we got Aaron with us too. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing, man. I'm glad we got a band back together.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I'm just planning on. I don't really talk about the Bears much, so I'm hoping I can get a little bit in today.
Not even 2 minutes in, and we already got the trademark.
Yeah. Don't say it already, man.
Yeah, he needs to put his sock on the fucking wall. You got that poster, and then there's nothing on the other side.
Tried, man. I threw something together the other day. So.
Hey, man, whatever works, works. So, needless to say, folks, the regular season is over. For everyone here, minus Mr. Morris, it was pretty much a nightmare. And now things are much more condensed. However, since the season is over for a bunch of teams, minus the 6 that made it into the postseason for each respective conference, the off-season dramatics have gotten underway. You can probably all tell where we're going with this. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, before I turn it over to the fellows here, and in this episode, we're trying a little bit of a new format. It's going to be a little bit more of a free-form discussion as opposed to the distinct, specific structure that we've had prior. So Pittsburgh wins their game barely against Cincinnati, and then they proceed to watch Baker Mayfield and company lose to the Ravens, which effectively hands the Ravens the AFC North Division title and kicks Pittsburgh right on out the paint. Now, we were told that Antonio Brown had sustained an injury and he wasn't active because of the injury. But within the last 36 hours, we find out that apparently he and Big Ben got into a big, messy altercation.
In a bathroom stall.
Wow. Hey, see, you almost made me lose my fucking train of thought.
Dude, I was just about to ask, was that for real?
I mean, we know Ben does typically lose his control in bathroom stalls, but
oh, God. Anyway, apparently Antonio Brown throws a ball at the dude. They're verbally going back and forth, and this is after he didn't show up for practice prior. So apparently he was physically able to play, but he didn't as a result of him not showing up for practice. Then we hear this report from some guy at CBS Sports saying that he formally requested a trade, which apparently isn't the case. But today he shows up in a video of James Harrison saying that a big interview is on the way. And he's on Twitter going back and forth with George Kittle and Richard Sherman of the San Francisco 49ers. And Jimmy G is retweeting that. And Le'Veon Bell is also in the mix asking, hey, big bro, where are we going next? Meanwhile, Pittsburgh is looking at a $21 million cap hit over the next 2 seasons if they do trade him. So basically, if they let him go or if he tries to force their hands, they're looking at a $21 million right on down the drain. I think for me personally, a collective what the fuck comes to mind, just because, like, dude, you're one of the premier players in the game, and 2, you're not new. You're 30 years old. You have like 4 kids. Like, something should go off on the logical side of your brain.
But I mean, like, do you think that works though? Like, in all honesty, like, does a player get to like bitch and throw a fit and then get a trade no matter what?
The team doesn't want that distraction.
Sure, they don't. But at the same time, like, if you're the coach, don't you think there's a different side of looking at it, like saying like, fuck this, you ain't going nowhere. Like you're still getting paid for this amount of time. And
Le'Veon Bell would be the perfect example for that, probably.
yeah,
No, well, the difference there is Le'Veon wasn't under contract.
right.
Oh yeah, they franchise tagged him.
They
My
didn't
thing
even
is, it's
sign a
also
franchise tag. So
it's also being
was not
reported
under
that
contract.
AB unfollowed all of the Steelers on social media, like as far as the platform.
I
I
mean,
don't know how true that is, though.
And
hold
that
on,
doesn't mean
but
shit to me no more.
yeah,
That
because I mean,
unfollowing
remember
shit.
when the big deal was made in the offseason when Julio quote unquote cleaned up his Instagram and deleted all
Jordan Howard did it at the
Falcon
beginning.
shit. Yeah, I mean, bottom line, he can. I mean, yeah, he can decide. Oh, I don't want to play for Pittsburgh anymore, and he can go in there and he can wreck shit. Pittsburgh doesn't really need him. I mean, me and Aaron talked about this a couple days ago.
Man is showing off.
Juju has stepped up. He's just as good of a player and no headache. I mean, Juju is. I mean, his numbers were better than AB's this year.
Real talk. Before I go off on my little tangent, when's the last time Pittsburgh drafted a bad receiver? Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Did they draft Martavius Bryant?
Yeah, I'm saying they drafted Martavis Bryant, but he wasn't bad. He was.
He wasn't bad. He just didn't pan out.
I mean, he wasn't
worth the
flashes.
He wasn't worth the headache.
He showed flashes of greatness a lot more there than he did here.
What I really want to know is what something John said earlier. When all of these things start happening, now it's happening with OBJ and everything. Like, what is everybody's fascination with going to San Francisco?
I have no idea.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, but
living in the Bay Area.
Kyle Shanahan. It's as simple as that, dude.
I don't get fucking Garoppolo, dude. I don't. To me,
Kyle Shanahan. They look at what Julio did with those 2 years when Shanahan was in Atlanta. They look at what Josh Gordon did when Kyle Shanahan was in Cleveland. They look at who was the big wide receiver when Kyle Shanahan was in Washington. It's a receiver.
Nobody.
Offensive players thrive. And wasn't it like Pierre? No, it wasn't Garcon. He was there.
I mean, Deshaun Jackson? Maybe?
I mean, but what I'm saying is Kyle Shanahan. They've got a quarterback in place that they think is the guy. I'm not real sure what Le'Veon Bell is thinking about talking about San Francisco because
I just don't get it, man. I mean, I don't know, and I kind of see where John, because like if it's me and I'm, one of the best wide receivers in the game, and obviously if knowing what I'm about to say, you guys should know that I'm not like bullshitting here. But if I'm like, okay, I'm leaving Pittsburgh. Look at this shitty fucking mess in Green Bay that they've got going on. No receivers and one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. I can go there and light the scoreboard up.
But Green Bay's not going to pay anybody.
I understand that, but at the same time,
not only is Green Bay not going to pay anybody, but like, yeah, I get it. Career prowess comes first, but these guys also have to spend all their spare time in this place for 9 months.
I mean,
Green Bay versus the Bay Area. Like, what's going to be more appealing?
Possible shot at winning a championship.
I mean, let's address the elephant.
Or going with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's already injury prone, and
this isn't even me being a homer. This is just me being transparent. In one of the doper areas of the country to live in.
Absolutely, no, I get that. Absolutely, but
I mean, and let's address the cheesehead elephant in the room. There's a reason that guys aren't taking pay cuts to go play with the greatest quarterback of all time. Guys go to New England to play with Tom Brady. They take less money to do so sometimes.
But Tom Brady also takes less money to.
Yeah, well, there's a reason that Aaron Rodgers is notoriously hard to work with. The teammates don't like him. There's a reason that he doesn't keep that. There's certain guys that are around. Jordy Nelson, who's now gone. Randall Cobb, who's likely gone. Adams will be around, but that's with Cobb gone. That's one less target. I don't know what Jimmy Graham's contract situation is. I don't know if it was past 1 or 2 years. I mean, if I'm the Colts, make a call. The Colts could. I mean, they're one of the few teams with the draft picks. I think I was hearing that they've got 9 draft picks in the next draft, and they've got over $100 million in cap space. They have the money to get AB and Le'Veon Bell. I mean, personally, I wouldn't do it. A 30-year-old wide receiver, who everybody keeps saying how durable he is, but that the few times he misses games in the season, it's because of head injuries, man. It's concussions. And
going back to the original story with AB, I'm gonna take the shot. Do you know who you don't hear all this bullshit from? Who doesn't cause all this drama for their team?
Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel.
That and also Julio motherfucking Jones.
There's another guy too. I'm gonna give another shout out. A guy that nobody talks about except us because we know our shit, and that's DeAndre Hopkins down in Houston. The dude doesn't say shit. The dude balls out constantly, and people. And to me, like I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I said this in the group chat the other day. Hopkins has passed AB. Okay, all this additional bullshit that AB is making the team put up with, and don't get me wrong, I got no love for Pittsburgh, but if I'm them, dude, there's only so much that's worth it. Like, what is he really doing? Like, yeah, he's a solid receiver, but Juju's coming up. You got to start wondering how much is AB hindering Juju at this point.
Hey, was that shit for real with Hopkins about the no drops?
Yep.
Yes, he did not.
15, 0 drops.
Like, he didn't drop shit.
Now, was it a situation where it came to him and he didn't drop it, or was it a situation where if it came to him,
he had like 160.
He wasn't fucking trying.
He had 160 targets and 115 catches. So,
and that's
a matter of it hit him in the. It didn't. Everything that hit him in the hands, he fucking caught.
And that's a matter of him drawing the best corner, if not drawing the best corner and a safety on the top in every single matchup.
Yeah,
I mean, fucking Ramsey, all those dudes.
Yeah, in the division with Malcolm Butler and Malcolm Butler ain't what he used to be, but Jalen Ramsey. Didn't Jalen Ramsey actually come out the other day and was like, "Oh yeah, Hopkins beat me"? Like he came out and gave like Hopkins his props and was like, "Look, man, the dude is legit. He busts his ass."
Unless there's video of that shit, I don't believe that.
Oh no, I mean there was an interview or
Ramsey
something. Ramsey talks a lot of shit, but I mean Hopkins doesn't get the praise. I mean, me personally, Julio's kind of spoiled me. I grew up with Jerry Rice. I like the business first guys who just go out there and do their business. And I mean,
see, that's the other element about this whole shit that stands out to me more so than sitting up speculating as far as whether or not he's going to go somewhere. I personally don't think Pittsburgh is going to trade him. I mean, if he wants to sit and pout and sit out games, okay, you won't get a game check. The other angle of it, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this shit, to me is that, okay, we spend all our time, or rather the media spends all their time, maybe prior to this year, bashing on the easy targets, right? You shit on Oakland because they're easy to shit on. You shit on Cleveland because they're easy to shit on. You know, OBJ has some questionable stuff going on in his offseason. You shit on OBJ, make him out to be just the worst person fucking ever. Yet, when various figures in and around Pittsburgh, Big Ben fanning the flames of drama instead of putting it out like a leader is supposed to, nobody says shit. Antonio Brown got the whole Facebook Live thing going on a few years ago when confidential in-locker room information is taking place literally 5 feet away, and now all of this stuff, and he's just now barely starting to catch criticism aside from fucking Ryan Clark on ESPN. You know, the whole Le'Veon saga, this, that, and the third, but, you know, the whole boat incident with Odell Beckham 2 years ago, we'll continuously drag that up. But AB consistently has this issue and that issue and this issue and that issue, and he's the older and supposedly more mature guy, yet the media like, oh, well, because the Steelers are such a regal, Rudy family.
But it goes
like,
back.
At some point, the ratio becomes bullshit.
I mean, it goes back to, I mean, if AB wasn't arguably considered the best wide receiver in the game at that time, then I believe he would have caught more shit. But because Odell has there's honestly, we can agree there's a couple guys ahead of him because he's not there. I mean, if he was the best, undisputably the best in the game, nobody would they'd let it slide a little bit. Whereas Antonio Brown, the people that are letting it slide are the ones who think that he's the best receiver, whereas motherfuckers like me who don't think he's the best receiver are constantly calling out that, he's banging coolers and shit on the sidelines and Facebook Live videos and being an embarrassment to the franchise and shit like that. Typically, it's like, I mean, look at the group. We have one particular. I'm not even going to name drop him because I'm not even going to give him that fucking shit. We got one particular person in the group who thinks Odell Beckham is a fucking wide receiver god.
Fucking Jazz. I'll call him out. Fuck him.
He justifies everything that Odell does to like, Odell can do no wrong. And it's the same shit that the media does with AB. It's like, AB's the best. There's nothing he can do wrong. And it's the same. And honestly, I'm not even going to shy away from the criticism. I did the same thing with Julio when everybody was talking shit about the holdout. I was like, come on, man, he ain't holding out. I know Julio ain't holding out.
That's not a comparison, though.
What I'm saying is
Julio has never been in the media for smoking blunts on camera with skiers.
I tried to use
like OBJ has, because you conveniently left that part out, Pat.
I mean, I didn't want to.
Wait, time out. Conveniently left what out?
The pictures that surfaced of OBJ smoking them blunts with scallywags all around,
smoking the J's,
chicken heads.
Name how many players in the league right now under maybe the age of 25 who aren't doing some shit like that in their off-season time, bro.
Name how many of them besides OBJ have pictures publicly surfaced around them.
Crickets.
So no, Andy, and trust me, I'm not saying that. I know I said it. You left it out kind of in like an asshole way. That's you and I's report. But all of those things that you mentioned about OBJ and how they're constantly on him, that's another reason why too. That particular incident or incidents on top of everything else.
Be that as it may,
on top of a field goal post on the sideline. And
hey, we can sit here and split hairs and go back and forth all night. Be that as it may, the crux of my argument is not that he's above reproach and above criticism. That's not what I said. The crux of my argument is that he's the easy target to do this, whereas AB, arguably, in terms of locker room perspective pertaining to his actual career, not what he does in his fucking free time, is just as egregious. Yet up until about 36 hours ago, it's for Royal, Regal, Steelers. They have 6 rings. They're a Regal Royal family, and the owners are so Regal, and nobody says shit. That's what I'm saying.
But
it's an apples and oranges comparison, bro.
But again, going back to the number one, AB being the quote unquote the best. Another thing has to do with it, man. Winning camouflages everything. What's the Steelers' record over the last 5 years, and compared to what the Giants' record is over the last 5 years?
Yeah, because it becomes a point that they're winning games, so I can let this shit slide. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas
I can see that
the last big game. Go ahead.
Everybody, when you brought up the boat pictures, like that's what everybody brings up after that. They're like, since this picture was taken, they haven't won more than 2 games, or like the memes that come out and stuff like that.
I'm guilty of that one because I think I did that like mid-season. Like
I think to Pat's point, it's easier for people to target OBJ from an outside perspective because OBJ is way flashier and way more outspoken and doesn't.
Yeah, to me, the shit OBJ
I think so.
does on the sidelines in the game. I think I've seen AB blow up maybe once or twice on the sideline. OBJ does this shit a lot.
I mean, let's not pretend that Julio ain't out here living his best life too. He's just not letting shady shit show up on Instagram. You see Julio at the Hawks games. You see Julio with his fucking taco meat hanging out with fucking Migos and them at the some award show when when the little scuffle broke out with Joe Budden and
yeah. Julio was looking
there.
concerned as fuck too. Like,
yeah, he was just like, "What the fuck's going on here?" Like, but he wasn't going to jump into it. Whereas if it was, I don't know if Julio's just got better people or Julio just doesn't. He still goes out and has fun as any young man with that kind of disposable income is allowed to do. Nobody is saying that, man, go out there and live your best life, buy your Lamborghinis and all this shit. But smoking weed with Instagram videos showing, yeah, you can't do that shit. Instagram and some women of questionable backgrounds, and then not Julio.
Roy, you could go ahead and say it, bitches, hoes,
I mean,
skeezers.
bitches,
I said scallywags.
Wiggleworms.
I mean, what I mean is, we don't know if they were paid to be there. Is what I was getting.
Ladies of questionable virtue.
Yeah, ladies of the evening.
Yeah, and let me make this clear too. When I said that OBJ is flashier, I also mean that in a way of from us as just being fans, an outsider's perspective. We only get to see a certain amount of shit, and my perspective of OBJ compared to other guys, like let's just take Julio again, there's a way bigger tipping of the scale of maturity from a Julio to an OBJ.
Yeah.
So when I think of
volumes turned way down.
When you're talking about OBJ on the sideline throwing fits, running into stuff, crashing his head into shit, and acting like a child, that's along the same lines of another one of Pat's favorite people, Cam Newton, acting like a baby during like a press conference and walking away from the media and not the same amount of maturity as other people do.
You sneaky, sly, surreptitious little snake, you. One of my favorite people. Do I think he's pretty damn good? Yeah, but one of my favorite people is a reach. I just think a lot of motherfuckers get all uppity and self-righteous and just holier than thou when speaking in regards to him, which I call bullshit on. You motherfuckers aren't as high and mighty as you make yourselves out to be. And that's not even you guys. Like you guys, Alabama fan,
it definitely ain't me.
and the other two gentlemen, as Georgia/Falcons fans, like, yeah, you have no fucking reason to like the dude. So that's a whole different lane from people who make him out to be the most diabolical thug, fucking tarnishing the streets of America. Like, fuck out of here with that Fox News shit.
That's like
come on now.
That was like the criticism of Richard Sherman. Like,
he's a thug.
Yeah, like.
But see, that's where we were also. But you know that about me too, Pat. What something Roy just said earlier about Julio Jones, his receiver. He likes a business first guy. Julio Jones is a button up. I'm going to work. I do my job. So, some would say similar to like Jordan in his prime. As soon as Jordan was done with the game and off the court, he was in a suit and tie for the media immediately. He wasn't doing his interviews in joggers or nothing like that or in his jersey. He was in a suit immediately. It was all business with some of these guys. I like a little bit of shit talk and bullshit and swagger, if you will, from somebody. Like, I love Richard Sherman. I love that interview after that game. I love that kind of stuff. But there's certain players I feel like do it better than some others.
I mean, I like I said, I've always liked like dudes like Julio who the craziest thing to me is like I forget who they were interviewing. They were interviewing some cornerback, and he was like, "Man, I was talking to Julio all day, and he torched my ass." He's like, "I was trying to talk shit. I was lined up in front of him, and like he said right before one big play that happened, like I'm talking shit across from Julio, and Julio just looked at me, and he said he got this big smirk on his face, and he's like, when I saw him smirk, I was like, oh shit. And it was like a 40-yard pass play, and Julio just burned the fuck out of him. And he didn't say shit. He might like in passing, just like, oh, you like that was a good play, wasn't like that kind of shit, but never like, oh, I burned the shit out of you. You don't ever see Julio like have to be physically trained from
Julio and T.Y. Hilton in particular, like the DB, the safety of corner, whoever the fuck it is, could be blah, 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 and they won't say shit.
And I think
like T.Y. will just give you a blank look.
I think that shit frustrates a lot of corners. Is
Fucking
when
go.
they're not giving you something to work on. Like,
I mean, that's an element of a lot of guys' game. Like fucking Cortland Finnegan back in the day, he would try to piss you off to get you off of your game.
oh, ask
And
Andre Johnson.
Andre Johnson gave him them
that
hands.
2-piece. That shit's still one of my favorite. Yeah, that's one of my like. Andre.
What was that? The 2010 season? That was a boring ass season. But
Andre
that was a fucking
his
highlight
ass
moment.
out. So, but yeah, man. I mean,
speaking of Andre Johnson, he bought like over $10,000 worth of toys the other week for kids in Houston.
Man, he does that every year, man.
But nobody talks about it because it's not Cam Newton.
Yeah, I mean,
or JJ Watt.
I mean, because Andre doesn't like. He's another one of those business. He's another one of them business first dudes, man. He doesn't talk unless you're Cortland Finnegan, and then he talks with his hands. He learns that sign language.
Can we just give a little bit more props though to Hopkins?
I don't know
because you said because you gave your props to Julio, stuff like that. AB's had Big Ben. Julio's had Matt Ryan.
I give as much props as I can.
Well,
Hopkins
is Aaron, San Diego Chargers. but the Chargers.
Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers.
So my somewhat closing question to you guys is: a lot of people are showing their ass on the internet in terms of how little they know about how salary caps work. Do you guys legitimately think he's going to be out of there? Like they're going to ship him and take that $21 million cap hit?
I think something's got to give, man. Big Ben's already came out in an interview today and pretty much said that the Le'Veon Bell thing was a distraction all year. We knew Bell was gone.
Didn't they preach all year that wasn't a distraction?
Yeah.
That they were just rolling with Connor?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is this Ben's last year?
I think this may have been Ben's last year.
I don't think so.
I mean, wasn't it like 2 years ago that he was like, "No, I don't know if I'm gonna come back," and then he
Right. Well, I mean, that's because they wanted them to get rid of fucking Todd Haley. But that hydrogenated smoothie eating fucker up in Boston, I think, has put pressure on Ben to play longer.
I mean, man, I don't.
Not to mention Drew Brees, because Drew Brees is getting long in the tooth, and he shows no fucking signs.
Mark my words.
But
Beckham or Brown is getting traded this offseason. One of them, at least one.
Okay.
Let's.
Trade one for the other.
Why though?
Might as well.
Let's say it's AB. Let's just and instead of the whole San Francisco is the best place to live as far as these other teams that might need a wide receiver. How crazy would it be in this scenario that AB leaves and goes to Baltimore, where they could use a fucking star receiver?
I think there's zero chance they trade him in division.
Lamar Jackson.
I don't think they trade him.
Antonio Brown.
I don't think they trade him inside the AFC. But
I don't think so either. But I'm just saying, like, he seems like the type of guy that would be into something like that.
Oh, if he was a free agent, absolutely. That's why I think Bell is going to end up with the Colts. And perfect scenario, like they meet in the playoffs or something, and Bell goes the fuck off.
All right, so I guess my thing is, instead of where you think he's going to go, where would you want him to go? Where would you love to see him go?
Antonio or OBJ or both?
Either one.
Let's do both.
Yeah.
If it was me, for Antonio Brown, if it's not Drew Brees of the last year, no, never mind. I'm thinking of something totally different because that's not even a. I mean, are we just speaking like we could say whatever?
Whatever. Yeah, it don't matter.
I mean, you ain't gonna work out the cap space. Just dream scenario.
Yeah,
I don't know. Fuck, light it up in New Orleans for AB, but for OBJ, I would like to see him with Cam in Carolina and DJ Moore and OBJ on the other side.
That'd be too much fucking dancing.
I'll give you my two scenarios. And you guys might hate me for the second one. For Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown can be a part of the ridiculous amount of cap space in what could end up being the next dynasty with number 12 in Indianapolis. as far as Odell, if they ship him, he gets acquired by a team making a last-ditch effort to win one before it all comes down and plays for the quarterback who has a man crush on him. Yes, those fuckers in New England.
I mean,
because if you low-key pay attention to all this little social media shit,
repeat that.
Brady and Odell.
Just
I don't know if I had to pick, I'd say Odell in Indianapolis, and as much as this pains me, Antonio Brown in Carolina, just because Cam needs a fucking receiver at some point. And I mean, Odell in Indianapolis would be fucking crazy. I just think Odell in Indianapolis, they got the cap space, they got the draft picks they can give up. It'll allow the Giants to rebuild. I mean, I'm overthinking it, but that's why I know we said just put the team in, but it just makes too much sense, man. Odell and Andrew Luck, and then also because I firmly believe Le'Veon Bell is signing with the Colts.
Yeah, no, it
difficulties there for a second. Pat, where did you say OBJ was going?
I said in that hypothetical scenario, I think Odell would end up in New England. That they would try to reform him with the Patriot way.
And then Roy said Colts for AB and Carolina also for OBJ, like I said.
I said Colts.
Opposite.
Odell. Colts Odell.
And, I said AB to Indianapolis.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to go with I wouldn't mind seeing AB in Cleveland. Young Baker Mayfield. I hated him in college, but if he can continue on the track he's on now with Cleveland, I mean, to me, that'd be awesome.
How do we not say OBJ in Cleveland, though?
I'd be fine with either one of them.
Him and Jarvis Landry were college fucking teammates.
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly be fine with either one of them in Cleveland. I think that would be pretty fucking awesome. I mean, and again, Carolina, as y'all said, either one of them really going to Carolina, I'd be, as much as I hate to have them in our division, I think the dream scenario for Cam, that would work out for either one of them being down there.
Honorable fucking mention for actually both of those guys. Another team that's going to have a shit ton of cap space and some decent picks.
Don't say it.
Sammy D and the Jets.
Okay.
What did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say the Lions because you were so high on them at one point. Before.
Yeah, that was before my worst fears about Matt fucking bum ass Patricia came true.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my thing is also, you want to put these guys with some young quarterbacks. Obviously, the older guys are the more veteran and the more seasoned, but really how long do they have left in them, with Breeze? You may get one good year with Breeze in New Orleans. That was my thinking as far as with Cam and Baker Mayfield, having the younger guys there.
I feel
really
that.
Spring chicken, so.
Hey, I mean, look at the Colts. Don't kill me, Aaron. Look at their hot streak. A lot of that is based on the fact that they have a lot of young talent who just have stamina and aren't getting hurt.
Their offensive line seemingly came out of nowhere. And
they drafted those two guards, and both of them are fucking like.
Yeah, I seen a picture earlier said that they allowed the least amount of sacks this year. What was it? 18?
They gave up 8 sacks in the last.
Do you want to? And I know why you said what you said, Pat. But do you want to talk about that for a second while we're just shooting the shit? The reason why I think it's the Bears over the Colts as far as coaching for the year, or just
the thing is, in terms of coach of the year, I'm actually totally on board with you in terms of Matt Nagy getting it, and the reason behind it is this: out of all the other names that people are throwing out, a lot of people are throwing out Pete Carroll, Sean Payton, whatever the case, right? All the other names that are being thrown out for coach of the year are guys who have established Pro Bowl, if not Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. But Matt Nagy won the division with a limited quarterback in his second year.
And that's my case for for Indianapolis. That's what I'm saying. Regardless of what anybody said, like the injury and blah, 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 Andrew Luck is still – he's a Hall of Fame quarterback to me already.
Yeah.
He's already established the fact that
Will
he's
be.
one of the best.
No question.
So you're coaching a team that, maybe looked like it was lacking in certain areas, but still had Ty. Nobody knew that Marlon. It's Andrew fucking Luck. Andrew Luck was injured, but Andrew Luck didn't forget how to be a Hall of Fame quarterback.
I mean, I definitely I see the angle of it. And if somebody were to say, okay, well, the Bears are the hottest instead of the Colts, like I really wouldn't go back and forth with them. I think the only thing that really enamors people in terms of the Colts being the hottest is just the fact that they were able to turn around from 1-5. Like 1-5 in most instances is a fucking death sentence. Like, you know,
Sure.
like a lot of the teams we were talking about to start who get shitted on by the media, the Browns and the Raiders of the world. They start 1-5, you know it's a wrap. Like guys are already
one of the arguments I heard earlier was probably the dumbest fucking argument I've ever heard. They were like, "Oh, well, Frank Reich's the head coach, coach of the year because look what they did last year." Like, you mean that last year when they didn't have their starting fucking quarterback? Like, of course they did better. That's
my biggest hang up for Chicago. Obviously, is how many head coaches have that much success in their first season?
Yeah,
with brand new pieces all over the team.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, like almost no prior establishment on the team, like fucking at all. Like this kid's new, that person's new, like. Yeah, but speaking of which, we can go ahead and get into some of these wild card matchups. The Colts, who we're just speaking of, are going to Houston. So this is going to be one of those playoff moments where in-division opponents are playing each other for a third time.
Those games are always fun.
Seeing Demaryius Thomas go down in that game against the Eagles and the inconsistency on defense, like the Texans, in theory, have the better roster, but I feel like all the momentum is with the Colts right now.
I agree. I do think this is one of those because these are division rivals, they're familiar with each other, so that home field advantage doesn't really mean a whole lot because these are both dome teams. It doesn't really mean shit.
Right.
This is in a case like this where you get division rivals playing each other for the third time in the season. There's no real home field advantage. Momentum is the one that is what's going to carry the team here. So I've got Colts easily. When I say easily, I mean like they're an easy pick for me. I don't think they're going to blow them out, but I do think the Colts win this.
Okay.
I'm going to disagree with both of y'all. I'm going to go with the Texans on this. I'm going to say Deshaun Watson is probably going to win this game with his legs and get a couple rushing touchdowns.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Texans on this one. Given that home field advantage that you're saying is not going to be a factor.
Aaron, any thoughts?
We'll take Hopkins, man.
So we got 2 Titans, 2 Colts.
Yeah.
It's a tough call, though. That's going to be –
yeah.
I mean, that's – obviously, besides for personal reasons, the Bears-Eagles game, that's the game I'm most looking forward to watching.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say the Texans are going to run away with it, but, I mean, I think they'll win.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good or bad the kickers for either one of them. Well, we know Vinatieri's fucking good. It wouldn't surprise me if that came down to a field goal.
Yeah, we know Vinatieri's been there before. Sorry.
I was about to say,
right.
Where the fuck did Pat go?
Moving right the fuck along. Now, this is really actually pretty damn intriguing to me. Seattle at Dallas.
Can they both lose?
Seattle at who?
Dallas.
The Dallas Cowboys, they won their division?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And they'll be one and done. They're not winning this game.
Oh, man.
So there were a couple podcasters who called the Cowboys winning that division like.
Oh, here we
yeah, and there
fucking
was
go.
and there was a certain wide receiver.
Here we fucking go.
Who was wasting away with this logo on the side of his helmet.
I wonder who did that.
Shut the fuck up. Let's move on.
Going what John said, man. Cowboys one and done again. I don't trust Dak. Zeke's still there, sure, but I don't trust Dak. Russell Wilson's experience, they've been there before. I'm going with Seattle.
Undisputed is going to be fucking fire on Monday.
Skip.
Yeah, skip.
Skip.
Fuck it, man. I'm rolling with them boys. Like, I'm just gonna ride it till the wheels.
I'm saying I was on the train to start the season. Now the train has reached its destination, so everybody off
Because they're in the fucking
obviously, Seattle has the better quarterback. Obviously,
And Dallas has the better everything else.
I was to say defensively, I think Dallas has the edge. Protecting the quarterback, I think
what?
Dallas has the edge.
By far.
Yeah,
but Dallas is also they're younger. I mean, you can probably add the
running game. Dallas has the edge.
how many playoff wins do they have on their roster?
I think Aaron froze up just for the right moment too.
Yeah.
Wasn't Seattle?
I couldn't tell because everybody froze up trying to count those fucking Dallas Cowboy playoff wins in their head.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can barely hear you guys.
You sound like you've been drinking.
Motherfucker sounds drunk as shit.
I can barely hear you guys.
Welcome to the Unfiltered Podcast, guys.
I'll go ahead and pick up slack for him. So,
Yo, wasn't Seattle young when they won?
Here we
dude,
go.
you just came back out of nowhere.
But you
Oh,
said
my
that,
team back five.
Dallas is young. The Dallas is younger. But Seattle was young when they won a Super Bowl. There's a whole team full of young.
But they had like playoff
Not really.
experience.
It wasn't super young like this
Russell
Dallas
Wilson
team
was.
is.
Yep, Russell Wilson was young as shit.
Okay, but Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor were pretty seasoned at that point. Like they were in they were in those Super Bowls a good 4 or 5 years after they had been playing. But
All right.
nonetheless,
The last Cowboy playoff win.
Oh, here we go.
January 4th, 2015.
I mean, that,
I don't know what the fuck that was. But yeah, man. And before that, it was 5 years ago. So they'll be due for a playoff win in 2020. So next year they'll finally get their playoff win.
Aaron just looks shocked.
Aaron's not even moving right now.
I don't know what he's saying. My computer's fucked.
Oh shit! This is amazing.
Yeah, they can't say we don't have fucking chemistry on this one.
Oh,
So another matchup that features Aaron's favorite team, Roy's favorite team, John's favorite team, and indeed the favorite team of everyone on the face of the planet Earth, the Los Angeles Chargers
Bitch.
at the Baltimore Ravens.
That's Aaron's new favorite team, the Baltimore Ravens.
oh,
Superchargers. Oh wait, they're not in San Diego anymore. Lamar Jackson versus Phillip Rivers again because they already went to LA and whooped their ass once. So now LA has to go to Maryland.
I'm taking the Chargers before I leave this thing again from
Dude, I really hope the audio sounds like that when it comes through.
Or else we're gonna sound like some assholes just randomly laughing at him talking, like he got a lisp or something.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
My boy sipping on that juice.
I'll pick the Chargers.
Keenan.
Lamar Jackson.
It's like, man, are you
crying in here?
Oh, wow.
I'm also going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers, just because I don't think the Lamar is going to be too much of a beating. And we're at playoff football now. Bosa's there, Ingram's there. They're going to be chasing Lamar's ass down. So go Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, you really have to ask yourself just how sustainable what they're doing is, and playoff competition is a different ball game because the preparation for the opponent and all the intricacies of what they do and don't do just goes to a whole other level. However, it's the fucking Chargers. No matter how stacked they are, how much talent is there, and top to bottom, this Chargers team has the most balanced roster out of all the teams in the AFC.
But isn't that how it always goes?
They always find a way to fuck it up.
Like, I would not be surprised if they lost on like a botched extra point. Or like Phillip Rivers is running out pregame and he slips and they got to start Cardale Jones or Geno Smith or some shit. Like,
oh God, and see, you'd think, because of this, that I would just get so much delight from their shortcomings. I get some, but at the same time, just as a fan, like knowing the ins and outs of who should and shouldn't win in a logical situation, I'm just.
But I mean, it's the Chargers.
It's baffling. Like, what the fuck?
It's like pistol whipping a blind kid to root against them, man. It's like oh,
yeah,
you're gonna slip and fall, and it would making fun of them. It would be like kicking their dog, like on the way out. Like,
yeah,
hey, I know your house burned down, your dog's tied up in the back. I'm gonna kick your dog as I'm leaving.
What's worse though, rooting against the Chargers or the Browns?
The Browns. Well, no, I mean, oh no, Chargers is still kind of tough because, like, it's we've had this conversation before. Like, what's worse? Okay, what's worse? Your team just being a fucking doormat every year, or your team being good, 12-3 or 12-4 and 11-5, and but constantly like finding new and like, oh, this is the year they're not going to break my heart, and then they break your fucking heart. What's worse? Like, hey, I know my team is going to be 3-13 and they're going to be dog shit, or my team is going to be 13-3 and give me fucking hope and then just shit it away. What's worse?
Oh man, I'd rather have the team that has a shitty record.
Yeah, I mean, as Falcons fans, we know this. Like,
what it comes down to is, in terms of the human emotional scale, the team that's shitty is a better situation because you don't have that up and down, up and down, up and down. Like, what you're gonna get. Going into the season, us starting against the fucking loaded ass Rams and Gruden being out of the game 10 years, I'm like, this year's probably gonna fucking suck. And that's why you guys didn't see me overtly upset really at any point, because I'm like, nah, this ain't it.
Okay,
this ain't gonna be it.
Until it came to Aaron mentioning Mac at every turnaround.
Khalil Mack is defensive.
Khalil Mack. Bear.
Related to our situation. As many folks know, me and John are both Falcons fans. In that Super Bowl, would you have rather lost 28-0 or lose the way we lost?
I would rather get blown the fuck out.
There you go.
Yeah, because see, at that point, by halftime, you guys could just like, well, this ain't gonna go the way.
Because nobody talks about a team that gets blown the fuck out versus somebody that got blown up on a lead.
Yeah, nobody talks about the Denvers when they got smacked by Seattle. Like, well, they just lost. Just one of those things.
Nobody talks about that embarrassing ass performance Peyton put on.
Let me throw this at you guys, and you're both gonna fucking hate me.
Oh, here we go.
Would you have rather kept 28-3 the way it was, or would you have rather lost to Rodgers in the round beforehand and then watch him run the table and actually fucking somehow beat New England in the Super Bowl?
Oh, God.
Ah, man,
I'm having computer problems. Man, 28-3 fucking as bad as 28-3 was, and I can't imagine what the Rodgers narrative would have been had he gone in and done that. But I won't forget that kind of that riding that high for the first like 2.5 quarters before that iceberg started chipping away, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, before the fucking Titanic started to go under.
And then we started taking on water, and it was just like, oh fuck. And then that was it. And it was just like, you can ask John. We were watching the Super Bowl together. When it went to overtime, I left. Like I didn't even watch. I watched 0 snaps of overtime. So I mean, because I knew that was it.
I'm going to be different here. I would have rather lost to Green Bay than that 28-3 shit.
He doesn't have the same hate for Aaron Rodgers that I have.
I mean, I fucking hate Aaron Rodgers too, but to me, dude, I mean, we're 3 years now, and we're still hearing about that bullshit. You wouldn't be hearing about it if you would have just lost to fucking Aaron Rodgers in the divisional round.
No, but I mean, I'm sure it would probably bother.
Everybody's still sucking Aaron Rodgers' dick right now, so it doesn't matter. If we would have lost to him too,
and the Patriots fans. That's all this goat talk.
But before we move on, I got to address something with Roy publicly now that we spoke about in private because I think it's interesting. Obviously, those, things went down the way they went down with that fucking team from Boston. Now that we're in another postseason, my mindset is, okay, I don't want to have to hear about Tom Brady for 6 fucking months. I want anybody to win but them. I was thinking Roy would be on the same page with me because I know he doesn't care for those fuckers either. But for him, it's everybody but the Saints. And I'm like, I posed the question to Roy, like, wait a minute. You'd rather see Brady in the chowder-eating fuckers hoist number 6 and have to hear about it for 6, 7, 8 months all the way until next season than see Drew Brees get number 2.
I'll give you this. I'd rather see that than Drew Brees or the fucking Dallas Cowboys.
To which Roy responded, he will go down to the stadium and deflate the fucking footballs himself.
Yep. Damn sure would.
Bro,
we have to hear about the one fucking Super Bowl that New Orleans has every fucking time we try to even make a.
Oh no, it gets better, John. The reason that I don't want this is because I don't think you can wrap your mind around the amount of shit that Falcons fans would have to hear that the New Orleans Saints won a Super Bowl in Atlanta before Atlanta did.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So it could anybody but the fucking Saints.
If
the Saints win a Super Bowl and they can brag, I was joking around with my wife. The Falcons could win the next 15 Super Bowls in a row. We would never hear the end of the Saints brought a championship to Atlanta before the Falcons did.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yep. No.
And what if Brady can win the next fucking 4, and I'll just be okay. I'm good.
And what if New England is the team that they beat to do it?
Oh God, dude! I'll cut the power to that fucking stadium. My goddamn self.
And New England blows a 28-3 lead.
Fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, dude. Like that would be. I would retire from watching football. Like no, I can't.
Y'all would have to find another admin.
Go. What's the hockey team that Kamal go Capitals? Like that's what Go Blackhawks.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them.
A hockey fan. Go fucking Atlanta United. That's what I'm doing.
That's soccer, bro.
I don't give a fuck. I'll go
Oh,
to a different kind of
I
football.
would leave every fucking sports group I'm ever in, dude. I would delete my fucking Facebook page.
Yeah, dude, I could not. The Saints winning the Super Bowl in Atlanta before the Falcons.
No.
Not just like, hey, we passed through. No, I couldn't imagine, dude, and I can't. I cannot.
Yeah, no, fam. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that shit.
Yeah, that it's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Well-
I'm getting pissed off just thinking about the possibility of them winning a Super Bowl.
What a fucking dick, man. I didn't even think about that shit. Now it's getting me pissed off.
I'm rooting for the bye week this week.
Yeah. And our to get off that train, our last wild card matchup, and it's ironic that fucker isn't on the show anymore because of technical difficulties. But Aaron, he did his thing. Nick Foles and the defending champions are on their way to the Windy City.
I'm a proxy for Aaron here. I know who Aaron.
The Eagles have the Bears to thank for them being in the playoffs in the first place because the Bears smacked diet water fucking white bread himself, Kirk Cousins, to allow them to slip into that number 6 seed, and now the Eagles are going to play the Bears. There's a lot of shit going on.
Your boy is going to fire Nick Foles' ass up.
Nick Foles is coming into this game with bad ribs.
Yeah.
And he gets the privilege of facing Khalil Mack and Roquan Smith, who I know in the Khalil Mack hype got kind of lost. But I believe I said the other day, Roquan led the team in tackles. So on a team with Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, the rookie, the Georgia Bulldog, led the team in tackles. So, and then they also have Leonard Floyd, Danny Trevathan, former Bronco,
Akeem Hicks.
Yep. Yeah, this team, the Bears are my NFC. If I had to pick anybody, I'm not a big fan of Seattle. Everybody knows that. I do not want the fucking Cowboys to win one. I don't want New Orleans. I don't think the Rams have it. The Bears are it. The Bears, that's the team I'm rooting for here. Although I think Aaron would be hard to deal with.
Nah, like I said, I don't know if I said it to you or I said it to Aaron. I'd be fine with the Bears winning it because I haven't run across a shitty Bears fan. I mean, obviously, Aaron's hyped for his team, and I'm not going to –
I don't think Bears fans have really had a whole lot of opportunity to be shitty in the last while. I mean – don't get me wrong. I'm not taking a shot.
There isn't a lot of
your team's bad for a while, then you kind of start getting kind of humble with it.
Yeah, maybe it's because there isn't a lot of Bears fans in the group, as far as not run across a shitty one. But I know that I think it's that NFC group that Aaron's in outside of ours. There's a bunch of soft motherfuckers in there.
But yeah, man. I mean, I know Aaron's picking the Bears. I think Nick Foles is going to get eat up. He's
definitely.
The Nick Foles magic is running out. They went on a magical run last year, but they happened to catch every team they played. They caught them at the right time. With Atlanta, we just couldn't fucking score. And even then, even with the struggle that we had throughout that game, Julio slipped, and if he comes down with that, they're out of it. If Minnesota isn't riding that miracle win high and then coming in flat, they likely win it. Or if they don't win that game at all, and it's the Saints, I think the Saints blow the fucking doors off the Eagles. So I know I said it from the beginning of the season. Actually, into the Super Bowl last year, I don't think anybody's scared of the Eagles, and I think the best way for the Bears to kind of start their run is by knocking off the former champs. I think that's what they do this weekend.
Here's where I'm at with it. Khalil Mack and Roquan and Akeem, all those guys are more than capable of potentially harassing Foles. That much we know. But on the other side, Michael Small Shoulder Pads Bennett and the monster Fletcher Cox and fucking Derek Barnett, like, that's not a slouch pass rush either. And I I haven't checked the updates and whatnot yet, but didn't one of Chicago's main receivers got hurt last week? So it might become a situation where this becomes a one-dimensional, from an offensive standpoint, just low scoring slug out. But all it would take would be, in some people's opinion, a fluke, in other people's maybe not so much. All it takes is that one deep pass to Alshon Jeffrey, of all fucking people, for it to go from being 10-10 to being 17-10 at the last second. I honestly think this one is a coin flip. I know that sounds crazy. By all conventional standards, Chicago should easily win. But this Philly offense under Foles, it came out last week that the Philly coaching staff, they're all in consensus that Foles is actually much easier to coach than Wentz. Not necessarily because Wentz is a bad guy, but Wentz being the much better athlete, he's more self-aware. He has certain things he wants to do and doesn't do, whereas Foles will run whatever you tell him to run. So,
all right, so I'm looking at the injury report right now. Taylor Gabriel is the one that left the game early against Minnesota with the rib injury.
I think he was actually talking about Anthony Miller.
Wait, both of them got hurt?
Yeah, Anthony Miller left. He left the game with a shoulder injury. He was the one that when he left, because he re-aggravated it. He's the one that I saw. I didn't know Taylor Gabriel left.
Yeah, I said Taylor Gabriel as well.
But I know that when Miller got hurt. Well, Miller got hurt, but they're saying he's probable, so he's not going to miss.
Okay.
They're saying Gabriel. Oh no, they said it did. It says full next to his name, so I'm not 100% sure what that means. I'm assuming DNP means did not practice.
I'm showing questionable: Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Eddie Jackson, Aaron Lynch, and Anthony Miller. So they got 3 wide receivers that are questionable. Robinson was held out of the previous game with a rib injury, but he's uncertain. Gabriel exited the previous game due to a shoulder injury. His status is uncertain, and a shoulder injury for Miller as well. But it's what's today? Wednesday. So we'll know more tomorrow.
Yeah, they have Bennett listed as did not practice due to a foot injury, but they're most likely saying that he's resting for this game. Is their game Saturday or Sunday?
That one is Saturday.
No, this one's Sunday. This is the last game of the weekend.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, 4:40 on Sunday Eastern time.
Yep.
So, dude, like, you get this game over there. This game plays at fucking like 1 PM, and then you ain't got shit the rest of the day.
Well,
me
the
and Pat have
game
had this conversation before, bro.
Well, the game also isn't ending at like fucking 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, true. That's why I fucking hate LeBron went to LA, man. I can't watch them games come on too fucking late.
I mean, that was my complaint about
that's a whole other situation. Shit.
I mean, bro, that was my complaint about the Sugar Bowl last night, Georgia and Texas. Shout out to Georgia for not showing the fuck up. That game, the kickoff was at 8:45 here.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, it hit like I work very early at o'clock. When I leave to go to work, it's still dark outside. Dude, I wasn't staying up for a game that essentially didn't mean shit. I mean,
yeah. No, that's
so
the logistics of how they determine all that is interesting sometimes.
That's why if I ever traveled to the West Coast and like spent like a football Saturday or Sunday there, that shit would fuck me up so bad. Like my games start at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Period. My whole life. And y'all
was crazy. It was crazy when I went to Texas, man. It was like, oh man, what time's the game come on? It comes on at 1 o'clock. No, it doesn't. It comes on at 12:05. What the fuck?
Yeah, like, dude, my pregame starts at 12. Like, that gives me enough time. I can get up, have some coffee, relax, build my way up to football, check my lineups. Like,
right.
West Coast, y'all are still in bed. Like, your feet ain't hit the ground yet. Like, oh shit, I didn't check my fantasy football.
Yeah,
I check that shit the night before.
If I have a Sunday off and the Raiders don't have that 10 o'clock time slot, like, I'll wake up at 11 and half those games will be at halftime.
Fuck, dude, I couldn't even, like, it fucked me up that one time that when they did it in London, and it was like there was one game that I really wanted to watch. I think it was like it was like a Jaguars-Rams game or something, but it was a couple years ago. And I woke up at 9 o'clock and they're like, oh, yeah, just now entering the third quarter. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this must be what they feel like in LA. And they were trying to show it live on CBS. And I'm like, man, fuck you. I ain't had my coffee yet. So crazy.
Well, to go ahead and round things out, obviously we had a abstract structure, but one thing we will keep are our shout outs. Let's start with John. What shout outs you got?
Shout out to Jeremy. He just recently hit 100,000 subscribers on the main Geeks and Gamers channel.
Right.
So shout out to him for doing that. They did a 24-hour stream on New Year's and raised over $5,000 for charity. I'm not 100% sure on the charity, so I'm not going to name them because I'm not sure. I don't want to say something wrong. I believe one of them was for animals, and I think another one was for kids. So shout out to them for that. As always, follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Sports Wars, GG. Usually you can find us. So I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. Roy?
I'm going to go with my shitty shout-outs. My shitty shout-outs. I'm going to give a shitty shout-out to my very own Georgia Bulldogs. Y'all talked all that shit on Twitter, watching Notre Dame get their ass whipped, and then all you had to do was handle business, man. Like, you didn't have to blow them out, just handle business.
Yeah,
and went out there and got punched in the mouth. You saw that old fucking cow tried to attack the bulldog, tried to attack Uga, but y'all couldn't.
They said it wasn't even about the dog. I didn't read the story, but they said it was something completely different.
Could you let me have this?
My bad, dog.
You want to be a shitty shout out?
Finish up, dog. My bad.
You let the goddamn cow go to attack the dog, and y'all don't defend his honor. Like, this motherfucker tried to bite football players for y'all, you sons of bitches. But yeah, man, we got embarrassed, man. There's no two ways around it. I know I've been fucking around in the group all day, trying to justify this shit in my mind. We got punched in the mouth. We got embarrassed. I don't think Texas is a better football team. They're not. Georgia
back.
Huh? Yeah, they're back. They're back until Oklahoma hangs 60 on them next year. But yeah, man, Georgia didn't show up. You could tell there was a bit of a letdown. Got outplayed. I don't think the stories about Georgia wasn't taking it easy in practice. Anybody that's seen Kirby Smart and how he does shit knows that that's not true. Kirby's not going to let them loaf around in practice and shit. They just got punched in the mouth. And if anybody who's watched the last the regular season games that Georgia has lost, the one against LSU this year, the one against Auburn last year, that's how you beat Georgia. You jump in, punch them straight in the mouth to begin the game, and sometimes we just don't recover. And last night was no different. So way to make me look an asshole, Georgia. Fuck.
Well, my shout outs are to the Golden State Warriors for having an objectively shitty start to the season. And I'm hoping that this comes in the form of getting these dudes head in the game. In all honesty, thinking long term, not getting to the finals might be the best thing for them because it might reignite some of the hunger in them. Because these dudes and all the success are looking complacent as fuck right now. And with that dude down in LA, that ain't going to be it. Get it together. My other shout out is not anything too particular or too specific, except it is my other shout out is to Warren's Internet. And that's all we got for y'all this week. Like John says, like Roy says, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, find us on Facebook, join the community. If you know your shit, cool. If you don't know your shit, we'll roast you. If you're an asshole, we'll kick you out. But other than that, you will have a great time. That's all we got for you. Peace.
Go Dogs.
Tom Brady.